Thank you for taking your seats. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 3, and welcome to the SID India Display Conference. Good morning once more, all my industry leaders, distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends. It is my privilege as the country leader for the Society for Information Display to welcome you all to the India Display Conference 2025. And we are at SID building a strong community of the display industry aspirants in the country. This year, we hope to cross at least 100 paid members, mixed from student to individuals to corporate members. And we are also seeing a number of projects taking shape in the country. So there is a promise of a build-up of the display sector in the country, which is really very inspiring. Displays are fundamental to the man-machine interface. India is clearly taking its first steps in shaping this interesting, exciting domain for our country. This year, the India Display Conference is actually going to bring together a little over 20 thought leader presentations. These keynotes are specially curated in 5 different sessions. These sessions cover the policy perspective. We start off with the national and the state perspective. We will flow from there into display markets, display technologies, trends, roadmaps, and supply chain, and then follow it up with the specialty displays and conclude with the innovation ecosystem in display. So it's actually a full boutique of thought notes that will enrich the ecosystem as we go ahead. At this point of time, I would like to start the ball rolling by the traditional lamp lighting process. And to do that, I must invite our leaders on stage. First of all, let me invite Rajesh Sharma. Rajesh, are you there? There you are. So Rajesh is a close friend, a distinguished spokesperson for our industry, and I invite him over for the lamp lighting along with Harit Doshi ji. Harit Doshi is, as some of you know, sir, he is the SID US board member, chief executive of MeitY. He is my mentor, and he is now advisor to India Semiconductor mission for the display domain. So we really hope to actually work closely with the government to enable this particular area. I would also like to invite Amitesh ji, our additional secretary for at MeitY and the CEO for India Semiconductor mission, a very humble person, a supercharged person. There's absolutely no two thoughts on it. He's the single-minded, single force who's enabling this highly challenging tech sector in the country. So a special hand for him. May I? Sir, we will be shortly joined by Mr. Krishnan from MeitY, but we will take that in its own course. At this point of time, I also want to invite Dr. Panda. Dr. Manas Panda is Special Secretary, Government of Odisha. He is the Managing Director of OCAC. And would you believe it? This state actually took a leap and captured all the power semiconductor projects that were there in this round, and is clearly operating with a clear strategy to take a position on this in this niche. I've seen the work that's happening at IIT Bhubaneswar at 6M. I've seen some of the other projects that are shaping up. I think they have a strategy which is bang on, and this state has a lot to deliver. Sir, without further ado, I suggest we go for lamp lighting, and on to you. So it starts with the
शत्रुबुद्धि विनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते
And may I request everybody to welcome Mr. Krishnan, Secretary MeitY.
आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
Thank you everybody. Thank you Krishnan sir for joining. May I just Sir, please take a seat, sir. So, may I request Rajesh? Rajesh? Yeah. So, I hand over the proceedings to Rajesh to take forward. No? नहीं आप करो ना तो आपका है आप शुरू करो आप ना एड्रेस दो उसके बाद ओके आप तो इंडस्ट्री एड्रेस देंगे ना चलो ठीक
Good morning, everyone. Happy to see all familiar faces. The fraternity of display is growing. We are moving closer towards our goal of having the strong foothold of display fab in India. And our vision is, our dream is that it should come sooner. Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, industry leaders, fellow technology enthusiasts, a warm welcome to the India Display Conference 2025. It's my honor to stand before this remarkable gathering of minds that represents the cutting edge of display technology innovation. Today marks a pivotal moment in India's technology journey. As we convene here on this fine morning, we are not merely attending a conference, we are participating in the blueprint of India's display technology future. I would like to welcome on behalf of ICEA and SID, Shri Krishnan, Secretary MeitY, Amitesh ji, CEO ISM and Additional Secretary MeitY, Harit ji, Secretary SID, and Dr. Panda from Government of Odisha. The timing of this conference could not be more significant as the global supply chains reshapes and the world seeks reliable partner in advanced manufacturing. India stands uniquely positioned to become a display technology powerhouse center as we are increasing our manufacturing capabilities in electronics. Over the past decades, India's electronics and mobile industry has grown tremendously, and it is a big success story of Make in India, with production growing for mobile from 18,900 crores to 5,45,000 crores in 2025, and exports surpassing more than $25 billion. The technology we will explore today is LCDs, MicroLEDs, and OLEDs. Are not just display solutions, they are window through which the world will experience tomorrow's digital interactions. From the smartphone in our pockets to the dashboards of our vehicles, from industrial automations to the flexible displays of tomorrow, these technologies touch every aspect of modern life. India's journey from being a consumer of display technology to becoming a creator and manufacturer represent one of the most exciting opportunities of our generation. Display, as we see, is the face of all the technologies which we use in our daily life, whether it is mobile phone, laptops, television screens. Auto is also becoming more of a like moving screen. When you are traveling in the modern EVs, you see screens on all sides of the vehicle. What makes this conference truly special is its comprehensive approach. Through the lens of this conference, we will traverse the entire display ecosystem. We will examine market dynamics that shape global trends and create opportunities for the industry. We will explore supply chain strategies that can establish India as a reliable partner in this technology. We will investigate specialized applications in automotive and industrial sectors where India's engineering excellence can shine. And we will discuss innovation ecosystem that bridge the gap between academic research and commercial success. Collaboration between ICEA and SID exemplifies the kind of cross-sector cooperation that drives meaningful progress. This conference promised to be intensive, illuminating, and inspiring. You will hear from the thought leaders, engage in crucial discussions, and hopefully forge partnerships that will shape the future of display technology. Let's make the most of this opportunity to learn, collect, and connect and collaborate. Let us ensure that when we look back at IDC 2025, we can say this was the moment when India display technology revolution has begun. Thank you, and I wish you all productive and inspiring conference. Welcome to the future of displays. Welcome to IDC 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh, for a nice start. May I invite Harit Doshi ji? Sir, give a perspective on SID.
Okay, thank you. Namaste, good morning, everyone. So happy to see bright and early the room being full. I know a lot of people fought through the traffic to get here in time. So this is really exciting. This marks the second anniversary for SID partnering with ICEA and support with ISA to host this conference. So really excited for the day ahead because we have a lot of interesting speakers today. Let me start with acknowledging a lot of the esteemed guests here. MeitY Secretary, Mr. Krishnan. His leadership is just phenomenal. And I've seen a lot of work that is being done behind the scenes. Today, maybe we may not be able to share any announcements, but I can see a lot of work that's being done. ISM CEO and additional Secretary of MeitY, Mr. Amitesh Sinha ji. I met you 2 years ago, and it was such an exciting meeting, and I'm so glad that you're back. And every time I see you working so hard, I'm a very hard worker, but when I see you work this hard, it gives me more energy and say we should work harder. And you being at the helm of ISM, I am sure will be making huge progress in the coming years. Let me also acknowledge Dr. Panda from Government of Odisha. Thank you for your support, and I know all the work you're doing to support in addition of the central government. So thank you for your support. And then definitely last but not least, Rajesh ji, the partnership with ICEA has been so great over the last couple of years to make this happen, and we wouldn't have been able to do it without you. So with that, I want to also welcome all the speakers that have traveled across the globe and then all over from India to be here today to speak to you. And then everybody else who's made the effort to come join for this day, thank you so much. I welcome you. I'd say take this opportunity to meet a lot of people. There's a lot of work that's happening. I think this conference is bringing out people that have been long-term display veterans. I met somebody this morning who's been a long-time member and actually even published a book on LCD, and we did not know. So Dr. Temur is here. So it's phenomenal that a conference like this is bringing out people from the hiding. So it started a couple of years ago with a strategic mission from SID headquarters. SID usually headquarters does not get involved directly in country operations and in terms of managing, organizing the conference, but this is really important to us. We had 4 founding members, very strong founding members, and the goal was just to see what SID can do to help support building the display ecosystem in India. And we're delighted to see in the last year the tremendous support from all the sponsors that we have. So we're definitely building huge momentum here in terms of going forward. I also want to note one thing that some of you may have noticed a change. This was called IDMC last year, India Display Manufacturing Conference, and we've changed the name to IDC. So we're doing a lot more outside of manufacturing, like partnership with academia, bringing in folks who are actually giving training. So I think India Display Conference suits better than IDMC. So going forward, we'll be using IDC as our platform. I just want to share a couple of updates since last year. So last year, we said we will, bring in some team members and really start to amp up our effort from SID side. And Dr. Ashwini Agarwal came on board just about a year ago as an advisor. And I'm glad to share with you that we've had 9 live events. And I don't think even in countries where the industry is way more mature than in India, we've had this many live events. So this is really an incredible accomplishment for the team here. So if you're not participating, let us know and we'll get you plugged in. This is just some examples of the events that have happened and the participants you're seeing. And then this gives you a glimpse of, we're trying to focus on different areas. And so consumer displays, supply chain platforms, and then industrial displays, and so on and so forth. So it's a lot of opportunity to learn. Tomorrow we're also organizing workforce training session. A lot of details will be shared, in-depth knowledge. So if anybody's interested, you should look into it. It's going to be held at IIT Delhi. Really great opportunity to learn about different display technologies. There's also Display 101. So if some of you don't know and want to learn about display, it's really good course. So just last couple of slides. I want to just share a couple of thoughts from my perspective, what is needed. So these are what I'm calling the pillars for building a display ecosystem in India. Of course, it starts with policies and incentives, and there's already been some policies in place that have made a big difference. Hopefully, we'll have ISM 2.0, and maybe we'll hear something from Mr. Krishnan and Amitesh ji. But those are really important incentives. From market perspective, there's really 2 parts in my mind. One is the market itself, it exists. But the other part is, display fabs. So if you're a component supplier or material supplier, the end market is great, but if there are no fabs, you have no market. So this is, something we really need to work on. I see a lot of activities happening in the background. Maybe some of those are not just ready to be made public, but hopefully it's coming, and I definitely see real momentum there. On the ecosystem development, we have, made a lot of progress on the EMS side. Dixon's here, and they've definitely shown a path of how it can be accomplished and proven a lot of naysayers wrong in terms of what can be done. And then there's synergy with semiconductor ecosystem. There are a lot of suppliers that are same. Then there are display-specific suppliers that we need to focus on. Technology side, obviously there's some partnerships in place, but what kind of display technologies we should be working on to building fabs, right? There's an open debate and there's opportunities there. And then of course, you cannot forget about R&D, training the workforce, and academia, industry partnerships. And hopefully, by the end of the day, you'll get a flavor of all the things that are happening in India and see the real momentum from last year. This is my last slide. There's a lot of stories one can talk about that are relevant to where India is, but I felt like it's good to share the Samsung story. And people may not realize they had a very humble beginning. in early 1900s, where they were actually a trading company. People know Samsung today as electronics company making the best displays and all. They were a trading company. And they realized that to be able to, move towards the future for Korea, they needed to expand into electronics. They started their journey also by assembling. And they realized to be able to capture more value, they actually needed to go vertically in the value chain. So they started to work on electronics and displays. And government actually, the Korean government identified this semiconductors and displays as a strategic export industry. And that kind of triggered the policy and the chain reaction of the development to follow. There was a time when the display industry was moving from CRT to LCD, and a lot of people shied from making big investments. And they took bold moves to actually invest a lot of money, and we all know where Samsung is today. And then they found a lot of synergy with other businesses within Samsung, where they could add more value, differentiate a product. So if you have a Samsung phone today, the latest phones versus some other brands, you can see the display differences, the fold and other things. So they realized that this is really great value for them. What is interesting is the last one where Lee Kung-hee, I'm not maybe pronouncing his name right, but the former chairman of Samsung declared that we must change everything except your wife and children, okay? And that tells you how serious they were. And I feel like India is the same crossroads today, where we have to take bold moves, and this will propel us forward to our future. And I have a couple of lines from what Mr. Modi shared. The first one is from last year, which is "Yahi samay hai, sahi samay hai, Bharat ka anmol samay." And then what he said this year, India has started its electronics journey late, but no one can stop India now. So with that, I want to thank everybody for coming here today and participating. Looking forward to a lot of progress. We have our work cut out for us, so there's a lot of work ahead of us. So not a time to celebrate, but very, very exciting times. So thank you.
Thank you, Harit, for that accolade. I look forward to a race. So, may I invite Amitesh ji for taking over and presenting the national perspective, and sir, your audience.
Thank you, Ashwini ji, Secretary sir, Rajesh ji, Harit Doshi sir, and Panda ji on the stage, and dear colleague. You know that semiconductor mission started with a focus objective of developing a semiconductor manufacturing and display ecosystem in the country. So far, we have not approved any display fab in our SEMICON, our ISM 1.0. And you have also heard what Honorable Prime Minister has said yesterday, a day before yesterday, that there is a continuity of policy, and we are not here for a short time policy. So this kind of policy, that whatever you are seeing, it is definitely going to continue. And now we have to focus on display fab, because this is a very important aspect of our electronics manufacturing value chain. Before semiconductor program also, we were focusing on display capability. And you know that the IT hardware scheme that was prepared, again there is a push for sourcing locally made display assembly. And there is also an element given there that if a fab will be there, additional incentive will be provided. So with this kind of policy, we are trying to create demand for locally available display solutions. Roughly in laptops and other gadgets, the value addition of display is around 11%. And in other items like automotive and telecommunication, where electronic products are used, if value is less, roughly if we take 5% on the average, I am taking a conservative estimate of 5%. If we are going to have a 500 billion electronics market by 2030 and onwards, 5% of that will be 25 billion. And this 25 billion is roughly, we can divide into half. So mobile phone is a very significant part of our electronic journey. So if we consider that OLED is completely there in mobile phone, including Apple's and Samsung and others, and other market is taken by LCD, so this 25 billion can be divided into two parts, 12.5 for OLED and 12.5 for LCD. So now we have to see that how we are addressing this problem. And I request all industry players who are here or who are listening to this session that there is an opportunity directly to address this gap. Government has already created a market by giving a policy thrust for sourcing of locally developed display modules and display systems. This is the time to look this market very carefully. We all understand that China has a distinct advantage in LCD display, and the cost is very, very less, and that is the reason that from all around the world, LCD factories are now closing slowly and slowly, and mostly it is now concentrated in China. We have seen this kind of scenario in renewable energy also, where slowly all the world renewable energy facilities were closed or marginalized, and mostly it was concentrated in China. Wafer production, 98% is concentrated in China. So I believe that similar kind of thing will also happen or is happening in LCD. So if we want to have a secure system, we must do something for LCD display also. In addition to that, we should look for the future technology which can replace LCD or that will stay for a longer time. So we have to very closely look between OLED and MicroLED. Both the solutions are available in the market, and the market share is a very dynamic thing. What was visible 2 years ago is not visible today, that which technology will overtake other technology. But we have to keep our eyes open. And but clearly I understand that there is a market for all three kind of technologies. So MicroLED is a emerging technology. It will take some time to stabilize. LCD and OLED today is a dominant technology. And this is the philosophy of all technologies. Somebody was mentioning it is study that there are always two dominant technology, and third one is waiting to enter into the market. So whosoever is the weaker one, the third one will replace that area. So we have to see that, and as a policy maker also, we are in touch with industry leaders, and Mr. Harit Doshi ji is our now advisor to India Semiconductor Mission also. So we are discussing with him. Professor Raj is one of the advisor. We are always consulting him. He's also taking a project in IT Madras where AMOLED research was going on. And we will see that how R&D plays a role in this display ecosystem. I think this is a time to think carefully, and I urge industry leader also to work hard to understand this market. And there can be a solution with the help of consumers like Dixon and Apple and others who are ready to buy these kind of display systems from our domestic companies. And then those domestic company can also have a technology collaboration with international players so that we can, whatever technology we bring, it is LCD or OLED or MicroLED, it should be the best, and keeping in mind that it will be competitive in future also. But that kind of technology we should aim. Definitely whatever government has to play, the role will be played by government side. And we stand with our industry, and it will remain like that only. So MeitY has always this kind of ministry which supports industry after understanding their need, and we try to address. We don't see that industry problems are different and that they should survive in this world without any support. So if the support needed is genuine, we generally extend such kind of support from our side. So I will not take much of your time. Secretary Sir is here, so he will speak about the policy clarity in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Amitesh ji. I can tell you one thing. MeitY as an organization, our leadership, they have a vision. And sir, I'm sure you can't have a vision without a display. I look forward to seeing that time come when Yashobhoomi is crowned by an India display, when PM's images are flashing on displays made in India. And I would like to invite you, Krishnan sir, to come and give a perspective on that. Cheers, sir.
My colleague in the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology and the CEO of the India Semiconductor Mission, who's been the real live wire behind a lot of our effort in the semiconductor space, and also has toiled quite a bit to make sure that this particular SEMICON 2.0 has been a real success over the last 2 days, and also all the effort that has gone on before that. Dr. Harit Doshi of SID, Dr. Panda, Rajesh Sharma ji on behalf of ICEA, Dr. Ashwini Agarwal in a different avatar now after many years in other organizations that I've known him. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is the second time that we are organizing ICD alongside with SID, and I've had occasion to participate virtually in SID's international conferences twice. I mean, both times I was planning to travel to the United States to attend the event, but something or the other intervened, and I was unable to travel, but we've had occasion to collaborate and take forward this engagement. And as Shri Amitesh Sinha was pointing out, the one thing that ISM 1.0 failed to achieve was the establishment of a display fab in India. It is something that we pursued very closely, and something that we did our utmost to attempt. So in the ISM 2.0, which the Prime Minister already pointed out is already being worked upon, one of our main priorities, or the thing that we would target first and foremost, would be the establishment of a display fab in India. And I think that is the main objective that we would be working towards. You know, display fabs are important for a number of reasons. For the simple reason that nowadays, call it what you will, this is a screen-obsessed world, and you know, you have to have a screen if you have any kind of vision, right? So you need to be able to see for yourself what is possible. You need a dynamic screen which can keep changing, keep projecting, keep reflecting on what a new generation needs. And it is possibly the most effective way in which you can function and operate. And we've also reached a stage where we are very fond of multitasking. So even the glasses I wear eventually become screens in themselves, and that is the direction in which technology is heading. And who knows, I mean, where we use conventional screens today, the larger screens like those displays and these displays, the smaller screens like our mobile phones, will all be replaced by just a pair of glasses where display would be the main thing. So we could end up in situations like that, and where display is becoming more and more important to electronic devices. Between 25 and 50% of the value of an electronic device, and soon it could even become bigger than that, which means that really we are in a position where we have to ensure that in display technology we are at the right place. We have to hit the sweet spot. We are aware that there's a lot of debate on what kind of display we should be focusing on, what is the technology we look at. LCD is currently the most popularly used technology. Now, is that something we should focus on, or should we look at the next generation which is coming up, the balance between cost in terms of what the market will absorb and what where technology will take us? Each one of those aspects and each one of those elements is important. Possibly, in the case of the regular by now conventional semiconductor chips, silicon-based chips, we've made a very conservative bet. We've decided that we will go with lower-end nodes. I mean, we will go with nodes which are currently legacy nodes, where there is enough technology available, where technology is proven, costs are not prohibitively high, so that we have the strongest chance of success. And we've not bet big on what we need to do. Now, is that the same strategy we need to follow in the case of display, or do we need to follow a slightly different strategy, is what we need to work towards. Should we be careful about getting old technology simply because it is coming in at a cost, or is there overcapacity in the world, and which might mean that anybody who sets up in the existing technology may or may not be successful? All these are key questions which need to be addressed. And which is why I think today's event, the display conference, is so important. I mean, all of you are experts who are present here. You can discuss and debate this. We have the opportunity and time to address this issue carefully in the course of when we implement ISM 2.0 as to what should be India's approach. How do we go about looking at this particular area? Which end of this technology spectrum should we target? And how do we sort of make a mark for ourselves? Each one of these, you see, the one thing I think more than anything else that the government realizes, and I think the Prime Minister also was fairly explicit about, because he vowed that there will be long-term commitment to this particular space and sector, is that while we have begun well with ISM 1.0, there's still a long way to go. I mean, we are not, this race is nowhere near over, and India hasn't established itself yet as a significant participant in this area. It has taken us a while to start, but we've begun well. There have been confident steps. There is a reflection of trust. We've managed to achieve quite a bit in ISM 1.0, but there's a lot more work to be done and a lot more which needs to happen. And these are debates which are important. These are debates where experts should contribute. Experts need to sort of reflect on what would be in the overall interest of the country and the way in which we can go about it. We also have to realize that resources are limited, and resources need to be deployed in a way that is optimal. It is not that we can't take big bets. We can take big bets, and we will take big bets, but there needs to be adequate debate, adequate thought, and adequate reasoning before we decide on one particular direction or one particular aspect. I think that is important. That is what a democracy is ultimately about, because this is public money also which is being put into this, and we need to have credible domestic partners who come into this. Credible, I mean, this is a space where we are working closely with the private sector, and I think the one thing that characterized ISM 1.0 was that every one of the 10 companies, every one of the 10 projects that has been selected so far is a credible entity, and they're all entities who are as concerned about their reputation and as keen on success as anybody else. And I think that's important in the context where the government of India is spending about 50%, and state governments are putting in more of their money. There's almost about 70 to 75% of the money which will go into one of these projects is public money. And that's something we need to be conscious about. And we are not looking at it as an equity investment where there are returns. We are looking at it as a grant. So which then means the only payback to the government is the fact that the project succeeds and the project works. So government's only stake in this is we have to be sure that it works. And especially if it's a large project, it's all the more important. And in such instances and in such cases where it's a risk of reputation and credibility, it's very important that it's preceded by adequate analysis, adequate thought, and adequate inputs from the right kinds of experts, and which again is the importance of this particular conference. And I would really personally look forward to the kind of views that are voiced here and what is being said. And again, we must not forget that this is a strategically important sector. This is a sector where the entire production capacity is getting concentrated in one geography. If recent history has taught us anything, whether it is the COVID pandemic, whether it is certain other geopolitical factors, the one thing that it has taught us is that the world cannot afford such concentration in terms of technology. Reliability, resilience of supply chains and diversified supply chains is the way that the world is going. And India stepping into this particular space is fundamentally not just for India's own sake. I mean, when people say you make in India and make for the world, of course it makes a significant difference to India. Nobody is going to get into anything if it doesn't benefit themselves. But I think it also needs to be realized that there is a greater good for the world as a whole when India gets into this space. Given the size of the market, given the size of the economy, given the kind of human resource and talent that India has at present, the fact that the average age in India is currently 27 compared to the mid-40s in many other parts of the world, clearly we have to power some of these areas globally. I mean, it is something that is in the interest of the world. It's not just in India's own interest, but it's in the interest of the world. And this is a technology where this kind of thought and this kind of the analysis which will precede key decisions is very, very crucial and important. So while on the one hand, for me personally, it's been a bit of a disappointment that we did not get an opportunity to actually put in a display fab in India in ISM 1.0, although it was one of the areas which was covered. I don't think it's such a bad thing in hindsight. The additional time has given us the space and time to reflect, figure out which is the right technology to back, which are the correct entities to back, how do we sort of ensure the greatest chance of success in what we need to do in this space. And I think that is critical and important, and discussions such as these are what give us that clarity, and that is why it's something that the ministry is very, very keen on supporting, and the ministry is very keen on sitting down and discussing with all of you to figure out what is the appropriate way forward, how do we do this, and once we have figured that out, to implement it at a rapid pace. And this, again, it need not be a single bet. It need not be a bet on only one technology and one way forward. There could be an entire research effort which can go alongside. And that is a significant learning too. We are supporting a research effort, as Amitesh ji pointed out, with IIT Madras and a few other partners, including Dr. Rajesh here. So to sort of move things forward in the space of display. That again is something that we can support and take forward. The other area where we can support those kind of bets is also in the way that we are approaching research and development in this country. This is another point that the Prime Minister made, that there's actual investment in R&D which is finally being made by the government along with the private sector. And many of you are aware of the ANRF, the Anusandhan National Research Foundation. I can tell you that MeitY has been the one ministry which has worked with ANRF. We are the first ministry actually to enter into partnerships with ANRF to jointly support research along with industry and along with other research organizations and other contributors to take up projects. We are doing something in the area of 2D materials. We are also planning to do something in the area of AI. Even in the area of semiconductors, eventually under the RDI initiative, which was announced, there is going to be support for deep tech startups, which would include initiatives in the space of semiconductor development, and that would also then be eligible eventually, hopefully, for support from the semiconductor mission. So there will be multiple ways in which that research can be taken forward. More risk capital is made available for research projects which can move into development and move to market. So in multiple ways, I think it's possible to actually think and conceptualize of ways in which we can support what needs to happen in this space. We probably have the opportunity to move a little further down the technology trail in the case of, and further up the technology trajectory in the case of display. I think that's an opportunity that India should take. We should discuss with experts like you and take a bold step in this regard, and that's clearly what would, as I already pointed out, be our main priority in ISM 2.0 as and when it gets approved, and which shouldn't take very long, hopefully now, with all the support that we are receiving across the board. So clearly, this would be a very important priority, and the next time we meet for SEMICON, I would really hope that we actually have the path clearly ahead of us, saying that this is the project we are backing, or these are the projects we are backing, and this is the way we will move forward. The other part, of course, is, and this is a good thing on the display side, because often what happens is what's been identified as a gap in this entire value chain. See, we are on the one hand in electronics moving backwards from the assembly stage upwards. So there is the final product assembly in terms of putting the phone together or putting any of these IT hardware together, and supporting companies which achieve that kind of scale. Apple, for instance, or Samsung, these are the big examples. Now we've moved to the electronic component scheme at that end of the scale, so that more of the components are supported. But these components are not semiconductor linked components. We are supporting the semiconductor industry all the way from the design stage into the fabs and assembly and testing facilities. So we move that way. So which means the chip can also be produced in India. The next stage beyond that are the modules and the devices which really go into the final devices. So there's a bit of a gap there if you look at it from a semiconductor perspective. But in the case of display, I think that gap has already been covered in the electronic component manufacturing scheme, because there's space there already for display assemblies, and we are supporting a number of display assembly units which are coming up across India. And I'm aware that there are a number of display assembly units which are being, for which applications have been received under the electronic component manufacturing scheme. So that part of it should be ready even before many other parts would be ready. So to that extent, probably in this part, we are more ready to adapt than we are in the pure semiconductor space. And that is why I believe the opportunity should not be missed, and the display fab ends up being such an important priority for us. That is, I think, the significance of this event. That is why I think this is something which we should carry forward, and these are fascinating discussions we would like to hear your expert opinions on, so that we have the benefit of all your views and expertise before we take the next decisive step forward in this particular area of technology. So let me once again thank SID and ICEA for putting together this India Display Conference, and it should lead to the kind of outcomes where next year we are able to report real significant progress in this area. Thank you very much for having me this morning.
Thank you, Krishnan sir, for that perspective. I can share one thought with all the deliberations. ultimately the way to find the right project is to look at the target market. If you start with the customer, you will not go wrong. And I think that is how perhaps the full project viability will evolve, the selection of the technology will evolve. Without further ado, now that we have heard from the central government on their thoughts, vision on it, I'd like to invite Dr. Manas Panda from the state of Odisha to come on stage and give a perspective on how they actually enable their industry and what they can actually give as a top line message for the display sector.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Respected Secretary, MeitY, CEO ISM, dignitary on the dais, off the dais, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to be here, to be part of this India Display Conference. Normally, in this kind of session, the chief guest used to speak at the end, but anyway, sir, with your permission, sir, I would like to present something about the state. It's very unusual, but again, as a country, we have done a lot in the IT service sector, but in the as far as electronics manufacturing, be it semiconductor, be it EMS, be it component display, we are yet to move ahead. Sir, we are working very closely with your department, ISM, AI mission, or component manufacturing scheme. So one of the priority and top priority sector, electronics is one of the top priority sector. Before I start, let me apologize on behalf of our minister, actually Honorable Minister IT. He was supposed to join today, and the Principal Secretary, because the Honorable Chief Minister, he is here. He attended day for yesterday, entire day he was here in SEMICON. Then yesterday he was in the GST Council. The Minister was asked to attend a press conference today morning along with Chief Minister. That's why he could not come. And Secretary also, he has to move for some important assignment to Bhubaneswar. So as all of you are that India's semiconductor ambition is not just a national imperative, it's a strategic necessity. And Odisha, as I mentioned, we are aligned with the Government of India vision. We are aligned with the national vision, and to position ourselves as one of the electronics manufacturing destination. So before I speak about the ecosystem, so all of a sudden we were here since last 2 days. We are attending the SEMICON, interacting with lot of investors in this domain. All of a sudden there is a from industry, everybody is looking at Odisha because of the recently announced 2 project, semiconductor project that has been approved by Union Government on 12th of August. So one is in the compound semiconductor in a power device, and the second one is in the ATMP, advanced packaging. So where are we? So I don't know whether all of you have visited Odisha or Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar is the state capital of the capital of Odisha. Is one of the advanced and clean city among the top rated tier 2 city. Odisha as such is known as one of the metal and mineral hub. We are the highest producer of the critical mineral, metals, and as a result, the share of Odisha, if you compare to national share, which was almost 44% in 11%, 10 and 11, now it has gone up to 44%. So name it all the industries, steel industry, aluminum industry, those industry they have got presence. We are constantly growing in terms of our GDP. It's last 1 decade, it's more than the national GDP. And the per capita income, if you look at the gap between the national and state, it is gradually decreasing. So when 20 years back, the per capita income, the gap was almost 39%. It is reduced to 8%. Hopefully, we'll surpass this gap will further reduce in coming years. So we have got the other infrastructure like what is required, the port, number of ports, the airports. So there is a electronics park within the city of Bhubaneswar, I think 10 kilometers away from the international airport. The seaport, the two major seaport is 100 kilometers away from the state capital. And we have identified a large industrial land to create a cluster in the electronics, to create a electronics cluster, to create a data center cluster. And so what you need? So to set up your operation within any state, either Odisha or somewhere, you need ease of doing business. You need right kind of policy support. You need hassle-free environment. You need resources. So while yesterday someone was asking, what is your priority sector when we are here in this SEMICON? They were asking the other states they are focusing on, someone is focusing on components, someone is focusing on power devices, power semiconductor and all. So we said our focus is in the skilling. So Odisha is a eastern part of the country, the state. Bhubaneswar is known as a knowledge capital of the eastern part of the country. So we have many institute of eminence like IIT, NIT, IIIT, Institute of Physics, Institute of Mineral Science, Institute of Mathematics, produce more than 1 lakh STEM grads, engineering grads. There is a fairly IT ecosystem presence within the state of Odisha, but of course we are working very hard bringing the electronics ecosystem, be it semiconductor, EMS, design, be it the component, coming up with very, very industry friendly policies. And one thing I would like to inform all of you that the recently announced MeitY has recently announced a report on the fiscal index report where the Odisha ranked among the number 1 in the country as far as the fiscal strength, fiscal report is concerned. So it's a power surplus state. We have got 11% water resource availability, 11% of the national water resource availability within the state of Odisha, surface water. We almost generate more than 24,000 megawatt of electricity. It's a power surplus state and one of the cheapest power available tariff. So the industrial tariff, power tariff ranges from 4 rupees 85 paisa to 5 rupees 35 paisa. And on top of that, as per the policy, there is 2 rupees further incentive the government is giving under various scheme for next 10 years, which is very, very important for any electronics sector. So, as Secretary mentioned, there is an electronics component policy in place. Government of India, the state has also come up with a top-up policy. The state has got a semiconductor policy. It was launched in 2023. And we have got in 2 years' time, we have got 2 rounds of alteration amendment to this policy. And there is, since this is a fiscally very, very, the state is fiscally very, very strong, positioned very strongly. So whatever we have committed in the policy, we are able to deliver that. In fact, apart from these 2 Government of India approved projects, semiconductor project, we have one more project. There is a compound semiconductor fab. It's a very small investment. The pilot line is ready will be ready by December 2025, and the production will happen from March 2026. So there is a operation guideline in place. There is a semiconductor policy in place. We have disbursed that. We understand. So with jointly working with the ISM team, we understood the mode of disbursement, how we have to operate. So there is a single window mechanism in place within the state of Odisha. The current policy which we recently come out in terms of semiconductor, though everyone is waiting, including state government, the investors, for the ISM2 to launch. In the meantime, we have the policy where we offer 50% subsidy in the absence of this ISM2 for the first 5 compound semiconductor and ATMP project and first 3 display projects. If it is ISM approved, then of course 25%, altogether 75%. And more often there are many subsidy in terms of skilling, relocation incentive, upskilling, reskilling, internship, and some kind of encouragement incentive if a student intend to opt for semiconductor and design related courses during their final year engineering education. So there is a incentive for the student. So many things are there within the policy. So I am not going to take much time because Secretary Sir has got some other engagement. But only thing I want to mention here that this is a very, very important session. As Sir mentioned, we have not, out of all 10 approved projects of Government of India, we could not able to attract a single in this particular display segment. Hopefully, with this kind of interaction and the input received from the industry leaders, it will help the policymaker to come up with the good guideline policy, which will be helping for the industry to set up their factory, set up their manufacturing unit within the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manas sir. Samvi? So before we start the next round,
Thank you so much, everybody. I would now request our dignitaries to accept a token of our appreciation in the form of mementos. I would request Mr. Harit Doshi to present Dr. Manas Panda with a memento. I would also request Dr. Ashwini Agarwal to please present Mr. Amitesh Sinha with a token of our appreciation. I would now like to request Mr. Rajesh Sharma to please present Shri S. Krishnan, Secretary MeitY, with a token of our appreciation. Thank you so much, sir.